are live.
Welcome. Got in the chat. Hey, Tim. We're in a little something up here.
We're here.
Yeah, I got a board.
Oh.
Well, that's the whole.
Gotta
that's
remember.
why we do this.
Gotta remember to get a board, right?
Hey, Alan. Welcome.
Well, that was a little thick on the pour. First pour of the day. Probably shouldn't have been that big. But oh well. Ooh, that smells nice. Who's up in here? Hey, Tim. Tim in the house. What's up, Tim?
Yeah.
Alan, one of the basement dwellers, is in here. Saw him yesterday. Dropped off a Still Austin for that man.
Love it. Gary.
There's Wes.
Oh.
Wes up in the house. Welcome in, Wes. See Harry. Harry just dropped by the house earlier today and grabbed his Still Austin. We were on a Still Austin cannonball type run, Mac, this week.
Love it.
Matt, there is one of the basement dwellers that will be going with us to Good Times.
Oh, awesome.
There's Jerry. Hey, Jerry. How's it going? Thanks for joining us. Gotta eat one more pretzel for the stream, so I'm sorry I'm eating those here. I won't eat any more during the stream, I promise. Gotta get a little something on my belly.
Not that good a stream. ASMR stream.
ASMR stream.
Pretzel. Hacking pretzels.
Pretzels. All right. Let's do it.
I can't see how big this is. I've seen this. I've held this in my hands in a store. Yeah, we're talking. Oh, here we go. This is like, the size of my arm, and well, I wish my arm was that big. But anyway, it's a
baby arm. Baby arm. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm Hack. This is my friend Mac, and hey, we made it to our second episode, Mac.
We did. Welcome, everyone.
We were not canceled after our first show. We were picked up by, well, we really weren't picked up by anybody. We were just told, we just decided we would keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a good week. I am blown away by one thing, Mac, and that is the fact that we had close to 100 views of our very first video.
Wow.
Did you watch it 99 times? That's the question. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I actually did.
Okay.
I had it on repeat.
So for our other one viewer, we appreciate. Now, seriously though, I've gotten some pretty good feedback this week from folks. Just if you're first time tuning in here, we're just getting rolling on this thing, and we really don't know what the hell we're doing. But we're enjoying it. We're having fun, and whiskey's supposed to be fun. I think whiskey's supposed to be fun. So
it is.
We are not super serious, but we are having a good time. And just a little bit of history lesson. Hack. I'm Hack. This Mac. We met through the Bruiseville community, which we are Patreons and loyal supporters of. And so a lot of times we may be talking about things that are a whole part of the Bruiseville world. And so, just know that that's kind of the lens that we may be watching through. And so, and for those people that are just subscribing, we thank you so much. But yeah, so we met there in the Bruiseville community a few months back, and had a chance to hang out at Spillway. And we talked about Spillway last week. If you missed that video, go back and watch it. And just became friends, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was, sparks flew, came buds.
Twinkle in the eye.
And yeah, I mean, great community, like you said there, and met a lot of great people too down at Spillway, and have an opportunity now, going forward. We just built this cool community, and again, too, it's not just the Bruiseville community, which is great, but we're in other groups as well. And so I think that's the cool thing. I think we want to keep supporting here is good community, whiskey community, people that like it, people that want to learn about it, and people that are on, all the different sort of parts of that whiskey journey, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's really cool. I mean, and we're going to talk about where we are in our journey.
yeah,
And still, I think I have tons to learn. And that's one of the really cool parts about me for joining the Bruzel community. Not only watching TJ's videos because I learned a lot from him, but also the other people in the Bruzel community like Tim and who's here today, and then some of the folks that I've met through the supporter group. They've taught me a lot. Like I learn a lot from them, and so it's been really cool. And so we're going to try to pass some of that knowledge on. Not that we have a lot, so it won't take this. This may be a very short show, just because of the minimal amount of knowledge that we actually have. But we're going to try to share some of that today. We're going to spend some time going through how we have approached barrel picks. We've done a few. We're going to actually dive into, is BuffTurkey worth the hype?
Buff
Yeah,
turkey.
yeah. And then there's a piece of the show we do called the flack, which what's the flack about, Mac?
It's the things that anything that you have an issue with in whiskey right now. So, last week I think we saw, if we weren't able to join, it's very difficult for me to find Jack 14. But my friend here, Hack, snuck a bottle in there. So
I did sneak a bottle in there. And I did tell you, by the way, that I would send you a sample. So samples in the mail.
I know. Love
Samples
it.
in the
Love
mail
it.
of the JD14. I do not want you paying $800 for a bottle of JD14. So yeah, and welcome in to those just joining the chat. Veronica's here. She's got to be a loyal viewer to watch this. Yeah, so appreciate y'all tuning in. So should we jump right into it? Should we get into
yeah? What are we sipping?
Oh, we didn't even share. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. So
what's the chat sipping on too? Yeah.
Yeah. What are you guys having? What are you sipping on? Hopefully everybody's had time to get themselves a pour. I think there's a little bit of a flex going on over there if I'm seeing what you're having, sir.
Hey, this is a shelfer. I don't know what you're talking about. This
shelfer.
Well, it will be a shelfer. Mm-hmm. I've seen a few people. Some people are finding this. This is the Wild Turkey 101. It's the 8-year age statement. The now U.S. release. This was, I think it was an international release before, but they're bringing it to the U.S. as a shelfer. And a shelfer means this thing is going to be produced enough to be on a shelf, right? That's what they say. So, it's just, I think it dropped about 3 weeks ago, something like that. I was able to snag one online. I can get some pretty good shipping here, and it was $50.
$50. That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Now, didn't you? I think on Instagram this week. And by the way, if you'd like to follow my guy on Instagram at Nashville Mack, he does some really good reviews. Didn't you review this against Wild Turkey 70 this week?
Yeah.
Yeah. What were your findings?
So yeah, the Wild Turkey 70th is another one of my favorite bottles, which was last year, or was it early this? Everything's blended together, but this was the anniversary 70th. Let's see here, Jimmy Russell, I got it right here. We won't take too much time on this, but I think this one got a lot of accolades. I love them both. I think the difference here is this 70th is a bit more of that like light fruit cherry. It's got a bit more of that longer finish, a little sweeter. Yeah. This guy is a oaky vanilla bomb, and I think for the $50 price tag, it's awesome.
I'm down. I'm a Wild Turkey fan, so I'm down as soon as I can find the 8. But I can promise you one thing: I will not overpay for the 8 because I do. Yeah, no. It's just. This is where you talk about whiskey journey, right? Patience is key, and sometimes you just got to be patient because certain bottles like that, I wouldn't be surprised when it first hits the Houston market if they don't show up on the flipper pages. People trying to flip, yeah. I saw it with the Four Roses Red Label, the 100 proof. When that first hit, there were people trying to put that on secondary. Yeah.
It's still, some of those are, we don't have to go into that, but I've seen some of those are still hard to find, but for me, but what are you sipping?
Yeah, so tonight I'm having a little Still Austin Blue Corn. Blue Corn is aged 5 years. It's a 100 proofer. It is mellow. It is smooth. It is and I know people hate on Weller 12, but I would call this the Weller 12 of the Still Austin family. It's not off-putting. It's smooth. It's got really nice notes on it. It's got a nice little vanilla note on it, and it's a very nice, smooth, even pour. There's nothing about this that is gonna like set you back. Like it's done really, really well. And we'll talk about our barrel pick in a minute, but when I was at Still Austin, I got on my knees and begged. And for those of you that think I was breaking out the knee pads, maybe I was breaking out the knee pads, but I was begging them for a single barrel of blue corn, and I was shut down. But I used every persuasive skill I have, which I have a lot. That's how I've stayed married this long, but very persuasive, and still could not bring home a single barrel of the blue corn because they just don't have enough yet.
Yeah. Well, soon.
Soon.
I mean,
soon. So anyway, that's what I'm having tonight is a little Still Austin, which will be a little theme tonight. I've got my Still Austin row up behind me here tonight, and love what they're doing. I think Still Austin is on the just verge of competing with the big boys. They just keep getting better, and a lot of people, oh, it's Texas whiskey. The stuff they're doing lately, especially with the Nancy's picks, which I'll talk about too in a little bit. Those are special.
Yeah.
Those are special. So
yeah, I got to try one of them that you brought to Spillway, and it was
the January pick. Yeah, January pick was something else. So we'll talk more about Still Austin, and should we get into talking about barrel picks now? You think it's time?
Yeah, let's do it. I think it's great.
All right, let's do it. Let's get into barrel picks, and we'll kind of talk you guys through a little bit of like what's been our experience with it, and what have we done. And I know that. So was it a week or two ago you went to Chatanooga and you did a barrel pick at Chatanooga, right?
Yeah, I did. And this with the 21090 guys, I'm a part of that group. Shout out to Andy and Todd there. They're doing some great stuff. They're a really cool group. They not only do they like whiskey, they like 80s hair metal.
Oh, nice.
So it's an interesting like music / whiskey community. Everyone's super nice, supportive.
Do you have to have hair to get in the group?
Yeah, that's the prerequisite. Well, no, because well, I hope Todd sees this, because if you see the 21090, which you got to check him out on YouTube, and Todd does a daily 60-second review, and he is a bald man like yourself, and
hey,
he's got a great palate. So
he's part of the tribe. He's part of the tribe.
So there, I was, lucky enough. They sent me an invite to come down, and about 6 of us. And man, Chattanooga rolled out the red carpet for us. They took us to lunch and bought lunch for us.
Nice.
Tim, Tim Pearson over there, it just was with us the whole time, and. But I can't say enough about how hospitable they were. And then also, if you guys haven't been to Chattanooga, I would really suggest going. The master distiller has a background and was at Sam Adams before as their head.
So he did beer before whiskey?
Yeah, and you can, his love of that beer making process, which I'm sure many people know is such an important part, right? Whiskey. And the Tennessee high malt piece here, which is really cool. So anyway, we had a great time. We had the spread in front of us. Of course, it was blind. They had a wheat whiskey out there. They had a toasted Tennessee high malt, and then they had another just regular Tennessee high malt that wasn't on their toasted barrels. I think we wanted all of them. They are hard to get. They're only releasing, I think, 30 barrels.
I've seen the Chattanooga stuff. So I travel a lot, and so I end up in different airports. And Nashville seems to be an airport that I connect through a lot. And I've seen the Chattanooga stuff in the airport. And I've seen it around here a little bit, but I didn't know that there were some harder to find Chattanooga offerings. Are they? So I see the picture with the pot still. Are they? All their own juice, everything they do there, or are they sourcing?
Yeah, so they have they start out with MGP, my love, And they still utilize some of that, but now most of it is their own, most of their own distillate here.
This is making so much more sense now, bro. Like, so much more sense.
Yeah, but no, it's mostly their own stuff now.
Okay.
They just released uh, this Founders, which you may have seen. This one's kind of their annual big release. That's a blend of, let's see, this is the amount of blending they do is just it's shocking. My table feels like it's about to break here. I've got so much out, but I have to say,
If you're a card table, don't put too much whiskey on the table because we don't want it to fall. I feel like I feel like you've got like one of those little card tables that when you travel, like in your RV, and you pop it out.
I know. I need a better table. But anyway, to wrap it up here, I mean, it was a tough pick. And then for those who are new, and I think you said we're going to get into that a bit too, but it was really my first one where I was in a small group of picking and responsible, right, for like this investment. Like it's not my money; it was the guys at 21090, which is so nice that they wanted to include me. But it's a whole different thing, right? Where you're like, I really like this, but will the masses like this? I think that's one of the questions.
This is one of the biggest dilemmas, right? And so earlier today, there's a couple of guys in the Bruzel supporter chat that they're going on this next, I think this next Bruzel barrel pick, and never been before. So being that it was your first one, what's the advice that you would give those guys? Like, what would you say? Like, this is how you would prepare, or just what would you tell those guys?
Well, I think the first thing I would say is like trust yourself, right? There's a reason you were chosen to go on that. And at this point, if you're going on a barrel pick, you like whiskey enough, that you should have a bit of an idea of what you like. You may still be kind of formulating. Our taste changed a lot, but I think, trust yourself in your own process, right? So everyone had their own, I had my own little notebook. One of the guys there, had his whole thing of like, don't talk, we're not talking about it, right? Like, I think that's another thing too, where if you're with someone, someone's going to lead the pick and they're going to give people instructions, and maybe, I don't know, Hack, we want to go into that a bit more, but I would say the big tips are eat beforehand, eat a good meal, but not too crazy. Don't get like the spiciest thing at the restaurant, right? Like you want your palate to be there, but
those are great tips. Those are great tips. I think one of the things is that being your first one, you're probably going to go in a little bit timid and probably possibly a little bit intimidated, thinking like, what do I have if, especially, I can only imagine, like I haven't been selected yet to go, and I would love to eventually be selected at some point to get to go on a barrel pick with Bruzel and with TJ, and I would imagine that's pretty intimidating, like, right? It's like the largest whiskey influencer in the world that is extremely knowledgeable, and by the way, knocked it out of the park on the contest on the Madness Final Four, and just absolutely put it on the table. Props to TJ for doing that, but also it's probably a little intimidating. Here's what I would tell you: your opinion is just as important as everyone else's.
Yep.
And I think that one of the things you can do during a barrel pick that I would say is have an open conversation before you start. Like, hey, like, how do you like to approach it? Do you want us to just have a free-flowing conversation, or do you want to spend some time with the whiskey internally to kind of think through it, write down notes? So everyone likes to do it different. And if you've got a group, especially if you've got a larger group, it's really a good idea to like have that conversation before you start, to say, guys, I'd really like a few minutes, because here's what happens inevitably. 100%. I've done it a couple times, and I've done some store picks. Probably done about 7 store picks. And to differentiate, right? Like a store pick, they'll send the samples to the liquor store. The barrel pick, you're going to the distillery, right? And so it's a different experience, but it's the same process. In the store, a lot of times, as soon as somebody says, oh man, I'm getting a little light, creamy vanilla note on that. Oh yeah, that's what I get too. Like, so, one of the things, it's really hard not to let that power of persuasion kind of like take over for you. And so it's a really good idea, like you said, take your notebook, and as you're getting those notes, write those notes down. And so go in prepared, like and it doesn't have to be a notebook. Take a piece of paper and just, whatever you want to do. And I would say it's extremely important to go in with this mindset that, hey, my opinion is just as important as everyone else's. Because here's the thing, just because somebody that's an expert that's done tons of these barrel picks, just because they like something, doesn't mean the masses will like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And you said something that was really important, and I think we should talk about for a minute. Is like, it's like, and shout out to Liquor Zone. They're the ones that are paying for the barrel that we're going to Good Times, and I know we'll talk about Good Times more in a minute. But I have an extremely serious approach to wanting to pick something that they can sell out. Fortunately for us, the ones we picked so far, they've all sold out, and they've all sold out really fast. And we're starting to kind of build up, a reputation of like, hey, like, those guys that they pick at Liquor Zone, they're making good picks, So you want to protect that reputation, because the last thing in the world you want to do is have your liquor store owner shell out $4,000 to $6,000 for a barrel and then have to sit on it for a year.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's some pressure. I think you can go into that, and if you have a good team, I think that it helps the pressure kind of. You don't feel that much pressure if you got a good team.
Which is different than the Bruisel pick, right? Because on a Bruisel pick, they're gonna like, I mean,
there's so many people. Yeah,
they're gonna sell. They're gonna sell. So there's no stress on that. But I think that take good notes, and then I just would the one thing too. So, and this was something that and here I'll if it's all right, we'll look at some Still Austin pictures next. One of the things. So Christian Wellcroft, who is the master barrel picker dude. Christian's an amazing guy at Still Austin, and had the opportunity to go a couple months ago. This is something he told me that I thought was one of the most beneficial pieces of advice I got, which was, I know you're going to ask me what the age statement and what the proof is, but don't make me tell you.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you learn the age and as soon as you learn the proof, it automatically adjusts okay.
Yeah.
You're going to make a preconceived notion. So I'm curious, when you guys did your Chatanooga pick, did they tell you that in advance, or did you wait, or how'd that work for you guys?
Yeah. So we did the thing where for about 10 minutes, we just were kind of in silence, writing and, tasting. And then we started to talk a little bit about notes that we got on them, and the first question was, is there anyone that you just don't that's immediately out, right? We didn't go by 1, 2, 3. We went the last place. Is there one you just don't see? I think that's a good way to do it. I'd like to hear from how did you do it?
Yeah. So this is something. There was a supporter chat one night. It was just a couple nights before we went to Still Austin, and TJ allowed me to ask a question. You say, hey, I'm going to do this barrel pick. Any advice? And so this is the advice TJ gave me. Is he said, they're going to give you anywhere from 4 to 6 barrels usually, right? So out of those selections, there's always going to be one barrel that they give you that is so off profile that they're trying to get rid of.
Oh, right. So
one of the first things you need to do as you're going, find it. And you can find it, and you have a decision to make at that point, right? So the decision is it off profile and good? Or is it off profile and not what people would be interested in?
Right.
So when we did the Still Austin one, there was one of them that was super, super oak forward. It had tons of leather and tons of oak. It was almost like a Garrison's Brother feel, right? And I was like, I think that's it. I think that's the one that they're trying to. But I would tell you this too, being a part of the Bruisel group, I think is a tremendous thing too, is that use, like TJ said, use the clout. When you go in there, say, hey, I'm a part of this huge whiskey club. Give me the good shit.
Right. And don't be and then I think too, I saw this was with another group I saw, they had to put out a video that they just didn't pick one day at a certain distillery. I forget which distillery it was, or I forget which group, but you've heard of that happening too. And I think, I think you have to be prepared to do that, right? And you have to be prepared to walk, in a nice way, right? You don't want to, but you're there, you got it. You have a financial investment, and then you have a reputation too, right? Based on who's picking and who's selling. So, yeah, it's a big deal, but I think it's a blast.
No, it is. But I'll tell you this too. So like, I think the store pick thing, you know, like making a
Yeah,
store pick, they did one, and look, I'm sure they make good whiskeys, and I'm sure that some of their barrels are really, really great. But they
yep,
had a Starlight pick where Liquor Zone called me up and said, "Hey, you know, we want you to go through these Starlight barrels." We went through them,
yeah,
and we didn't find one. So
yeah,
we said, "You know what? We're not picking one."
yeah.
And that was at the store, right? When you're at the distillery, if that happens, you know what they're going to do? They're going to go roll some more barrels out.
Exactly.
They're gonna be
Yeah.
like, no, no, we're gonna find you something. Like it's like
Right.
it's like car shopping, right? They're gonna find
Oh
you
yeah.
something. And speaking of
It,
finding something, I do have something special right now that I need to.
ooh,
Since we're talking about doing a Still Austin barrel pick, first thing, shout out to Kevin from the Houston Basement Dwellers. This man was in Austin, Texas yesterday, and well, 2 days ago, and he was there during the time of the release for Nancy's pick, Still Austin. The notes on this month's Nancy's pick are salted
yeah.
caramel brownie, cherry
Oh,
liqueur over dark chocolate cake, fig pudding,
oh,
pomegranate syrup, cracked peppercorn, glazed vanilla bundt cake,
oh my gosh.
and mid-length with waves of brown baking spice and coffee cake.
That's some
I mean,
notes. I mean,
here's
that's
here's the crazy thing. I popped it last night, and I sat down to do my tasting notes, and word for word, I got the same thing.
really. I'm sure. That sounds delicious. In the chat here, Tim's talking about the Green River pick that he was on. The number one voted barrel ended up being the youngest, lowest proof.
See, you don't.
That is,
That's the thing is like you don't want to know. But let me. I know you're all the way in D.C. and
yeah,
you don't get down to Texas much. And
I
here
don't.
live on stream, I have something to announce.
Oh,
My boys in the
okay.
Houston Basement Dwellers have come through for you, Mack, and we are
Oh,
gifting you this month's Nancy Still Austin. It'll be in the mail to you, my friend.
whoa, whoa. Are you serious?
I'm very
That is
serious. Shout out to Kevin and the Houston Basement Dwellers,
wow.
my boys.
Thank you
My
guys.
so the Houston Basement Dwellers are I would say a smaller section of the Bruzel community here in Houston. We've had a few bottle share. We've had a bottle share at my house. We get together. We've had some virtual tastings. Matt is coming with us on. So we're a small group of about 17 of us, but we really enjoy spending time together. And it's all about community. Like whiskey's all about
Yeah,
community. And so the guys were like, you know, hey, Mac has never had a Still Austin Nancy's pick.
man, I haven't.
So guess what,
That's
my friend?
awesome, guys. Hey,
Cheers.
thank you guys so much. That means a lot. I really appreciate it. Cheers. I hope to come down and visit you guys and if I can and join one of your live tastings there.
Yeah, you'd come on down to Houston. So some Texas
Okay.
hospitality coming your way, Mac.
Love
So
it.
so those tasting notes I just read, I want you to also, when you taste it, without cheating, get all of those notes that Nancy got.
Oh, there's another. I definitely will. There's another text in the chat here. Ben Palos, he's my buddy from college who was just here. He's wanting me to share it. We'll see. We'll see, Ben.
Oh, Ben. Oh, see, as soon as I'm sending it, you got people. You're going to be
I
the
know.
most
See?
popular dude ever up there. People are going to be like, knock.
Oh,
Hey, Mac, I heard you got that Nancy's pick, bro. Break out the Nancy's.
that's awesome, guys. Well, thank you.
Yeah. See, I'm making. Well, I think you probably already had friends. I'm guessing.
No, I don't have many. You're my only friend, Mac.
I don't have a lot
That's
either.
why
That's why
you're
I
on
have good
YouTube.
whiskey. That's why we're on YouTube hanging out. We need more friends. We need more
Oh
friends.
man,
Yeah. So I'm gonna have myself a little sip of this Nancy's pick. But here's the deal
love it.
about Still Austin. Our pick that we had the opportunity to do. It'll be I think at the end of June. It'll make it to Liquor Zone. Shout out to my guy Pete. And it is a 7.5 year age statement, and we did not know that when we picked it. And it's 109 proof, and it is one of two of the oldest barrels put into their single barrel pick program. So we're super excited about it. It'll be hitting Liquor Zone here in Pearland at the end of June. So
Oh, that's awesome.
Stay tuned to the channel. I'll let you know when it drops. And I think I've got about 20 people all over the United States that want me to ship them bottles. So the way I would describe the one we picked was it was very Kentucky bourbon feel, but in Texas. It had that classic caramel note on it on the front end, and then it had a very smooth, creamy oak through the middle. And at the end, it had just a little bit of Texas leather on the finish, but it wasn't overpowering. And it was just really, really nice. Like I don't have Nancy's notes to give you, but
Oh man.
but yeah, it was a good one, and so we're excited to bring that home.
Awesome. We had a question in the chat. Donovan has a great question. Do these guys know what they're talking about? And the answer I answered him, no.
Yeah.
So thank you for.
I'd like to I'm going to blow up his spot. And you know how I was talking about earlier, you watched the video 99 times. That's how we almost got to 100.
Yep.
That's my brother. So that's how we have at least one viewer.
Oh, that's awesome.
So cheers to my brother. And you know, I talked a little bit last week about we made our first ever Kentucky, and this is probably good to talk about with Barrel Picks too, is that back in December for his birthday, we made our first ever trip to Kentucky, and we hit 9 distilleries in 3 days. And so each one of them gave us a little different, you know, like how to nose, how to taste, how to like, and so unfortunately, one of the things about me is that once I'm into something, I'm 110% in. So whiskey for me, if I have spent hours going through this book and trying to get my notes down, and I have so much more work to do, but I've become this whiskey nerd that really wants to get better at it. And so it started with my brother and I. I've been drinking whiskey since about 2018, but like getting serious about the craft and trying to get tasting notes and it really, I will tell you this, going to Kentucky is probably a game changer for most people in their whiskey journey, right? And the whiskey journey is really like getting to do a barrel pick is, I would say, kind of like everybody has these milestones of like, I want to get this bottle, or I want to get better at tasting notes. Like being able to do barrel picks at some point, I think for a lot of us, it's like, it's up there, right? And so, and I'm excited that we're getting to go also to Good Times.
Yeah, it's a great segue into our next.
Yeah. So should we talk about like the what's happening at Good Times a little bit?
Yeah, because I don't even know, and I'm just happy to be.
Oh, this is first. I'm gonna flex on everybody. So I got to write my name on the barrel, which was super cool. Which is something you'll get to do at the end of a barrel pick as well. But if anybody that's here and you're going to go do some barrel picks and you want to ask us questions, I know a lot of you guys have my Discord. You have Nashville Mack's Discord. Send us a message. Like really, like if we can help you in any way, or if we can point you, like Tim that's here in the chat. Like he's done a lot of these at Good Times, so he's going to be much more of an expert than we are. So like we're here to help you guys.
Yep. And Tim, yes, the short barrel cigar batch number 2 is what I'm sipping on right now, which I am loving these days.
So here is our list, guys. So just to give you a little update, and this is super exciting for us, right? Like this is so cool. So myself and Matthew from the Houston Basement Dwellers, my friend as well, who I'll talk about in a minute, Laz, and then Pete, our store owner, we're meeting Mack, Tim, Brian, and Tyler, all from the Buell community up at Good Times on Saturday, May 10th. So we have to make some decisions, my friend, on which Good Times are we going to pick for our store here in Houston.
I am having trouble seeing this. It's pretty small, but I'm going to try to zoom in.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's all good. I can kind of zoom, but this looks, whoa.
Let me see if I can make it bigger.
Crazy.
Let me see.
And
maybe whatever you do, if you want me to make it bigger, don't do this.
Okay.
Because we might.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, I don't want to do it because I'm going to mess up my camera again.
I was trying to get you to do it again. I
know. It'll probably happen at some point.
Okay, all right. So look. I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to make it bigger for you, Daddy. Here you go. All right. So.
So I'm going to ask a question here really fast.
Yeah.
For people that
God,
don't
so
know Good Times, this seems a little crazy,
yeah. So
right?
here's the thing about Good Times. So they're all about the finishes. Like
Yeah,
they do some crazy finishes. So like this one, and this is where like I wish we could bring Tim into the live stream and just have him
I
talk
know. I
because
know.
he
Should have planned that.
100% he will know it all. But here's what I know is that like there are certain ones like the Amberana honey. It's finished in an Amberana cask, but also finished in a honey barrel cask.
Yeah.
There is, the Neapolitan, which apparently is
Oh
amazing.
yeah.
That's finished in. I'm going to
So
screw
why would
this
I?
up. Do you have that one?
I do.
Okay. So I know I have. I know I have this one. I'll move Nancy's out. I have this one, which is the Good Times. Which it's so I'll read this one off. This one, the Good Times, is finished in coconut rum, strawberry brandy, and pineapple brandy cask. So three
Yeah.
different casks to come up with the Good Times is one of them. And so that one was part of the Bruzel drop. So very fortunate to get that one. The Neapolitan Tim says the strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate. So if you think about the ice cream, then it's all kind of finished in there. Mack either went to his other whiskey room or he had to go pee pee. I don't know, one of the two. Whatever he had to do. I'm glad. I just hope he turns the mic off if he has to poop or anything like that, because that
Can't find the Good Times. That's how you know you have a good problem.
he
Can't find
can't
a good
find the good times. Chat. I think we should sit here and just wait for Mac to find the good times.
All right, I'm not gonna find the Good Times. It's somewhere.
Yeah.
I know that. I know those notes off the top of my head.
Wes asks the question of how do I convince my wife to let me do a barrel pick. So here's the thing, Wes. My advice, right? My advice is you really like do all your chores. Maybe wash some extra dishes. Don't try to fix any of her problems. For sure. Like we're not supposed to fix problems. Tentatively listen. Like listen, be engaged, and then risk it for the biscuit.
Sounds good. I would give you advice, but I'm not married, so.
Yeah, and I kept calling Veronica your wife last week, so I'm not going to do that this week. I'm not going to do that this week. So
All right. So what?
yeah, what are we going to pick
Yeah.
here? What are we going to pick at good time? So I'll tell you what I'm
Cocoa.
interested in. The Mexican vanilla blueberry has my interest.
Gosh, this is crazy.
The raspberry Neapolitan. Tim, what is Sweet Kitty? I'm really curious.
Oh
Like,
my God. Yes, Tim, please. What is Sweet Kitty?
oh,
I
Veronica in the chat just said that you don't need to ask. It's a blessing to be left alone.
There you go. See, she's a good one. Or she may just be really annoyed with me, which is another real possibility.
High possibility, right? Yeah. So bring Tim in. Bring Tim in. Everybody wants us to bring Tim in. I do too. I want to bring Tim in too.
How do we do it? You're our
here's
tech
what,
guy.
Now here's what we're gonna do. Like we just after we come back, like next Sunday, we will not have a live stream because I'm flying home during the time that's the live stream. So it'll be 2 weeks from today, our next live stream. Let's see if we can get Tim like as our caller on the love line. We'll call him on the love line.
I love it. He's saying strawberry coconut.
Strawberry coconut, Tim is big on. So you've got the Miami Vice, the pecan pie, Coco Loco. Now here's the thing about, so they've got some rye too, right? And this one right here, this really, the maple brulee, that's up my alley. Because so Pursuit Double Oak has a code that they use that is CB, which is creme brulee at the end of some of their Double Oaks. That's my jam. I've been told they're out of the breakfast blend.
Oh man. So this is the high rye MGP mash bill, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
The 36% that I'm looking at, and then the 95.5 is the it's all MGP,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So when you get down here to the 95%, the rye,
Yeah.
watermelon, blueberry.
What is that even? I'm fascinated about how you get a flavor like watermelon into a rye, which maybe actually with rye that could work, right? I think like I don't know. We're gonna see. This is gonna be an adventure.
Yeah. So one of the things about a good times pick that's different, right? So when we were talking about Still Austin, they're going to break out 4 to 6 bourbons, and you're going to try those bourbons. Here, they're going to have 300 different barrels, and we're going to have to figure out. Here's the thing: you cannot destroy your palate, and that's probably some really good advice for somebody doing a barrel pick. Is that the night before, don't go eat like super spicy food. Don't go to the Thai restaurant with like crazy spicy whatever. Not just because you have to make some bathroom runs, but also because you want to protect your palate the night before and then the morning of. Try not to have like if you're having coffee, try to make sure it's like not too hot where it doesn't like you ever have coffee's too hot and then your tongue is like so try to protect your palate. But I don't know how you protect your palate when you go to Good Times. I really don't.
I know, man. And some of these finishes are just shocking. I'm really fascinated in like that some of their cigar blends, toasted cigar, interesting.
So here's the thing about the differentiation too. Should tell you about. So you have the regular Good Times, and then you have the good old times, which that's hack. Like I'm old, so that's. But also the barrels are a little bit older.
Okay.
So they're typically a little more expensive, and I don't know. I think a regular Good Times runs about $100 on MSRP.
Oh, they got a light whiskey cigar blend.
Now,
oh man,
that 99% corn. You imagine bringing back an American light whiskey from Good Times? I feel like we would walk back like, we are the champions. You are the losers. Or however that song goes.
Yeah, I think it's exactly how it goes. Gary in the chat said you need to teach me how to organize my bottles. Which is a good point.
It is a good point.
I just recently reorganized, which you would think I would know where it is, but anyway, it's somewhere in here.
I do it by distillery and then alphabetical. And I know that's super anal, retentive, whatever, but that's how I do it. And that way, when I'm starting to look now, back here is my little stream set up where each week I'm going to bring
all you have, right?
Yeah. My wife wishes that that's all I have. 100% she wishes that's all I had. But and by the way, this Nancy's pick, I opened it last night and the neck pour was not that great, but today, oh yeah,
that happens sometimes. Well, I'm pumped about this good old times. We're gonna try to get some Mack camera footage here and try to do some. I don't want to overpromise people because I'm still learning some camera work, but we'll try to get some clips for the crew.
We'll get. Now apparently they don't have internet there at Good Times, which may be good because if we get about 15 barrels deep, they probably. I don't want you to record. Like we need to have a discussion.
Okay.
About what you actually record. Yeah.
Live stream.
We need no. We need to have a discussion about what makes it like out of there. Because if it gets a little wild, and I get a little, just gonna say, hey, one thing too, and this is something I should mention. They do also have a couple of tequila barrels.
That's interesting. So, it's blue agave spirit because they can't call it.
Well, see, tequila, this is right? Where this is. So I was having this discussion the other day with someone, and this is where I become extremely uneducated because I know nothing about tequila other than I used to shoot it off of an oil barrel drum in West Texas when I was in high school. So I'm starting to. Somebody helped me get some Fortaleza, and it's really great. And I also tried a San Matias Grand Reserva store pick from Southern Spirits in South Carolina that was the best tequila I've ever had. And it was extra añejo that was finished in Eagle Rare 17 barrels. Like, it was fantastic.
Awesome.
So tell me, blue agave versus tequila, can you educate us?
I don't think I'm not. I'm gonna try.
All right. It's the internet. It's internet. We'll put it on the internet. It'll be right.
From the tequila region. And so if it's not, it's not. So it's agave spirit.
Okay.
So it's a region thing.
So if it's not from that specific region, they can't call it tequila?
That's my understanding. But I'm probably going to get some feedback in the chat or later. Anyway.
So Old Rick, they've got Old Rick, which we've seen in the Bruzel drops.
Yeah. Yep.
And then this one, Old Zach, I think they're sold out of. But Old Zach, my understanding is it could tie closely to what our next segment is, Mac. And Mac, you look distracted. Are you okay there? Are you okay?
I just don't know where any bottles are, but let's keep rolling. I guess we have to. We're live, right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, that's part of being live. You can't find your bottle. Do you know where your BuffTurkey is?
I do. It's right here. I actually prepped for that.
Oh, good. Good. As long as you know where that is. So yeah, let's get to the next segment. And this is a segment we like to call the crack.
Yes.
And
yes.
And this is where I have a barrel cam. Or a bottle cam. And like I said on our first show last week, Vanessa 100% came up with the marketing name for the crack. So give her all the credit for coming up with the crack, right? And is she the one that created that?
Are you? Oh, Veronica? Did you just?
Did I call her Vanessa?
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're gonna give her that. We're giving her that.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, you get credited with this, Veronica. The crack.
Right. I mean, marketing genius. So,
how many do you have?
How many what?
How many do you have?
How many what?
Of turkeys.
Is this another moment when you're just like, how many buff turkeys you got, bro?
Hey, you know what? You pulled the Jack 14 last week.
Literally, like, how many buff turkeys? This is like the dude that goes to the gym. How much you bench?
Look, I'm having trouble seeing through these bottles. So anyway, we just need to.
You know what? I have one BuffTurkey, but this BuffTurkey is very special to me because it was actually, you know what the best whiskey is?
What's that?
Free whiskey. Free whiskey. That's the best. And this one happens to be free from a very good friend of mine, and I'm going to give him a shout out here. That Suburban Guy. You can find him on Instagram at That Suburban Guy, and his name is Laz. And we talked about barrel picks a little bit, and he was a mentor for me on one of my first barrel picks. And a lot of the things I'm trying to help you guys learn, he helped me learn. And also he probably he's retired now, had a very successful business, and he just loves bourbon, loves the community. And he asked me for he wanted a new logo sticker, and so I created the one you see on the screen here, That Suburban Guy. And so he's like, hey, Hack, you know what? Thank you for creating my logo. And he sent me this bad boy, which is Buckner's 15. And you can see it's got this badass sticker on it that was created by yours truly. I've taught myself a little bit of Photoshop stuff over the years, and it's obviously now it's getting me free whiskey. But tell me about the. Wait, here, hold on. Let me get over here to this. Tell me about the plethora, as the Three Amigos would call it, the plethora of wild turkeys you have, sir, because I only have the one.
Of the BuffTurkeys, yeah. So
BuffTurkey.
This is the thing, right? Where Buffalo Trace, Wild Turkey, BuffTurkey, everyone's like, what is this? Right? So this is about, what was it? Well, they got 14 to 16 years, so around 16, 17 years ago, Wild Turkey approached Buffalo Trace and said, "Hey, we need you to make some of our stuff here, right?" So it's Wild Turkey juice done at Buffalo Trace through the Buffalo Trace process, which might include the Buffalo Trace yeast, I assume. I don't know. We're getting a little nerdy here. Is that true, Hack? Do you know if that's right?
Yeah. So
Um,
this is like this is the way I understand the story, right? And so, and this is, ooh, that was a nice pop. Nice.
yeah,
So
nice.
this is the Wild Turkey, and this is, we'll just, you know what, and shout out to Bourbonneur, who it sounds like manure, but I don't think it is. It's Bourbonneur. If I don't know, like maybe there's a fancy way to say this,
Bourbonneur.
like how you would say like
Bourbonneur.
someone that's good at picking wines. Remember that word? You were going to teach me that word. You taught me.
Collier.
Yeah, that one. So same thing. Maybe there's a way to say Bourbonnais. Bourbonnais. Is that like?
Oh yeah, that sounds cool.
Oh, that sounds Bourbonnais. So Bourbonnais, their website, they have a really cool article, and also probably one of the best AI images of buff turkey I've ever seen. Like this thing is
Yeah,
awesome. This buff turkey walks into the gym and says, "I've got 7 buff turkeys and I bench 500 pounds."
there you go.
So
Yeah. So
anyway, the
a lot
story
of-
goes that basically what is buff turkey, and it's that 14 to 16-year-old bourbon that they, like Wild Turkey at one point in time, needed help. They were busting at the seams and they needed help, and they needed people to take their juice and throw it in a rick house and finish it off. So who better than Buffalo Trace to say, "Hey guys, we're going to send you guys some barrels." And I don't know, this was around 2011 or so. And they said, "All right, we're going to send you these barrels. You guys take these barrels, you find a place to cook them, and once they're ready to roll, send them back to us." So they did. They send them back. Wild Turkey said, "This does not fit our turkey profile. It is not
Right.
good for 101. We don't want it." So they hit the open market.
Yeah. So this one, if you look at this, it's the Wild Turkey mash bill, which is that 75 13 12. I was thinking like how it wasn't like, Wild Turkey shipped the juice down there, right? No, Buffalo Trace actually made this mash bill from their stuff. So I think that's the big thing, right? Like they produced this, and I know that a lot of this stuff is like people are still trying to like dig and find out, but I think that's the case. So there's a lot of these barrels out there, right? You've got like this Augusta Buckner's that Hack has. You have this Elkwood that I have. Seal Box 15 as it.
So which one of these do you not have? Like, so you have Elkwood. So you have
I-
Elkwood. Do you have Magnolia Illuminati?
I don't. I'm gonna have to grab that one.
Okay. Do you have New Era Sunday Paper?
New Era. No, I don't.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't.
Okay, I see that one. Did I see that one? You have that one?
I don't have OKI either. So
Wow.
there's a lot out there.
There's
right?
a lot more than just this. There's the seal box. You have that one, right?
Yep.
And then, so
Roots,
here's
no
this
River
one. So River Roots, right? So I was in line this week at local meetup spot. Every Saturday we meet at Specs, and the guy there in line, I've met him and talked to him a little while, and he has one of these. He has one of the River Roots, and he said this week the secondary market on that bottle shot up to over $1,000.
Wow.
And
I mean-
we just opened one. No, we didn't. We opened a Buckner's. I don't think they're going for 1,000, but yeah.
We should talk prices though. So the cheapest. So this one is the cheapest one I found on the shelves at like. This one was around $250, which
Okay.
is probably the best you're gonna get from a buff turkey that
Yeah,
I've seen.
yeah. Because I think the one that I'm about to try here, they sold them online, And so they went for $319 when they sold online plus shipping. And a friend of mine, Daniel, who's another guy in my Houston Basement Dweller group, shout out Daniel, he brought it to our bottle share and put it in our goat, and it beat Russell 15. It took
Wow.
his bottle took first. Now the one I have is also Buckner's 15, but it's picked by, like I said, my guy Laz.
Yeah.
And my understanding is they may still have some of these in a bundle at McFarland Wine and Spirits in Alpharetta, Georgia, is where you can find this one.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. So we should talk proof points here.
Yeah.
So we both have one. What proof you working with?
So mine is a 133.2.
Yeah. So mine's 122 with this Buckner's I have. The interesting thing about these is that they really range in proof. I've
Really
seen
do.
down in the 1-teens, which is interesting to me.
So Steven, who in the chat, he probably knows more than us, but he says supposedly Wild Turkey mash bill, but
this is
Buffalo Trace grains and yeast. So maybe it was a Wild Turkey mash bill, and then Buffalo
Yeah,
Trace
that's what-
said, "Oh, okay, all right."
Yeah,
So-
so which is fascinating that it's it
Here's
is
the thing
sort
you
of
wonder.
everything.
Here's the thing you wonder about this, right? And by the way, the color on this is fantastic, and the nose. Let me just talk about the whiskey itself for a minute, because
I want to hear it.
So I get that very familiar turkey smell, but at the same time, it's like wild. What it is like if you took wild turkey and you made it into a cherry pie. Like if you took wild turkey and you put your cherries, like your raw cherries, right, and you reduced them down and added a little bit of wild turkey bourbon and just let them turn into a syrup. That's what this smells like. This smells like a cherry reduction in wild turkey. Wow.
Awesome.
It's got a fantastic cherry note on it, which you don't normally get on turkey.
No, so I do get a cherry note on some turkey, on some of these Russell's single barrels, and those are the ones I like the most when I get more of that cherry. I get that in the Russell's 13 versus the 15. I even get some of that in the single Rick House from Camp Nelson last year. But I think you're spot on. But I would love to hear your tasting notes.
Holy shit. I need to do it one more time, but I've had Russell 15, and it is very hard for me to tell the difference in this and Russell 15, except that it's just a little sweeter. It's just a little sweeter, which a sweet note, a sweet note is what I like too, though. I want you to understand, I'm a sweet note guy, but this is like not overpowering sweet, but it's, wow.
Yeah, I have a similar thing. I would say mine, I don't disagree. I would like to taste from your proof point there, the 10 proof points. I would love to kind of see what that does, because all of mine here are around that 120 mark. And I would love to see like what that 10 proof points does to it.
Yeah, so here's what it does for me on just like honest to God. So we talk about whiskey journey a lot, right? And I will tie that to. I'm gonna clear my palate for 1 second real quick, because I'm gonna take. I'm actually.
Well,
I gotta pour a little bit more here. I gotta do this again, because this is fantastic, Mac.
While you're going in there, let me get to the chat. So it looks like, they're talking about Take. So Alan talked about Take BuffTurkey. So this is Take's BuffTurkey, one of Take's BuffTurkey. So Take, if you know Take, or if you don't know Take, he's T8KE. He's the guy that online a lot of people might know as the Take rating scale, right? So he bought a bunch of BuffTurkey barrels. He has a bunch of MGP barrels. He's got everything, and he's got a place in Middlesburg, Virginia. I was lucky enough to meet him at a Wild Turkey event and had a good conversation right before all of his BuffTurkeys dropped. So he dropped the
I think it was a 16 year. Someone in the chat can talk a little bit about that if you have it. This one is a 14-year buff turkey. That is the first store pick, and it's from Pennsylvania. And it's a 14-year. So I have a 14-year and a 15-year. I don't have a 16-year. I think that's going to be my last one. I'm going to stop, Hack. You're going to have to hold me to it, okay? But I do almost like this 14-year better than the 15s. This take.
I need to ask you a question, and if you don't want to talk about this on stream, this is where you don't have to. But do you know Take in person?
I don't. I don't. I told him I met I met him once. He's connected to Shared Pour, which I go to their store, which is in Georgetown. It's to pick up my bottles, and then like we chat. We message.
Okay.
Only on Instagram. I just bug him on Instagram.
You message.
We're not like close. I would love to be close buddies with him, and yeah, looks like he's moving to DC this week. So yeah, we're gonna be best buds.
That's exactly where I was going. It's like, hey, just show up at his doorstep with like all the bottles that you bought from him and go, hey, you want to be my friend? You want to be friends?
Like, get this crazy guy out of here.
I gotta tell you something.
His other stuff.
I think it's time for me to switch scenes because a big discussion point, and not to be like a complete tease, but part of our discussion was like, is BuffTurkey worth the hype?
Yeah.
And that was part of my flack, right? Is like, look, is it just another thing? Like, I think what happens in bourbon is we're all looking for the next thing, like constantly. Like every week, it feels like there's something new happening. Like there's something going on. There's always something to chase. There's always something that kind of sets the world on fire. And so the question is BuffTurkey worth the hype? And where are you at? Because you have way more than I do. I've had my first sip of one ever. So I'm not the expert, but where are you at?
So I love this taste profile that we get. As you know, as I talked about way too much, even in the limited that we're only in our second episode, but I'm a wild turkey nut. Like anything they put out, I'm buying. That is my favorite distillery. And at the same time, though, I love some Buffalo Trace. And I think the question here is like BuffTurkey, does it taste like Buffalo Trace and wild turkey? And I think it does. I think it takes the best parts. And some of these barrels, right? These are single barrels. You're gonna have some different. There's some differences, and some of these, one of these, in a blind was a little too over oaked, and it was one of the 15 years, where I think the 14-year that Jay selected has a bit more of that delicate cherry, evenly oaked nature that I love. And it has a bit more of that grape. I almost get like Eagle Rare grapiness, like turned up Eagle Rare in here, which I like too. But so let's get back to the question. And the chat also says, is it worth the price? And that's the other thing. These things are $300 basically.
Yeah.
I think I went a little overboard with my purchases.
Is Veronica sitting right off stream? Is like she's sitting right here and have the frying pan ready to
She's ready. She's just on the other side of the camera No, okay. I think that like if you are a whiskey fan and you love Wild Turkey, you love Buffalo Trace, and you want to build your collection, this is a special thing. So I don't know what the answer. I know I'm sort of stalling here, but if you have if you want to put $300 out and you like Buffalo Trace and you like Wild Turkey, I think it might be worth it. But it's gonna be varied, and if you could taste it before,
here's my advice: single barrels are single barrels. Yep. So try before you buy. And fortunately, I was gifted this, and thank you, Laz. Thank you at that suburban guy for doing that, because me personally, and I told you this like in our private chat, like I didn't believe the hype, right? Like I thought, it's just another thing everybody's chasing. So live on stream right here, I'll tell you right now, this bottle, it's worth every dollar of 300 whatever.
Wow.
Worth it.
Wow.
I've got a George T. Stagg 23 in there. This is better than.
Wow.
I've got the Russell. I've had Russell 15. This is better than. I have EH Barrel Proof. This is better than. I'm telling you right now, this is. So, and it's tough for me, right? Like I think I need to do a blind with them next to each other. The only whiskey that I've had in 2025 that I would put anywhere near this is Smith Bowman Cask Strength Batch 3.
Oh, those are high accolades, sir.
That's where I'm going to put this. Like it's right there. And the reason is because, but here's the thing too. If you don't like high proof whiskey, this is not you. Because here's the thing about the proof. The proof, it punches you. Like it nails you. It nails you on the back end.
Yeah.
But what it does is it carries you through a journey where you go from this like cherry pie feeling, like there's a cherry pie filling that's dipped in bourbon on the front end, and I can not like this is we were talking about this during barrel picks, right? Like now I get that grape Eagle Rare on it a little bit, so I can see that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The finish has this oakiness that is the perfect balance that goes, and this is what you're always looking for. The oak, you want it to kick in about mid-palate, and you want the oak to carry you through to the end until it's not bitter. The oak is never bitter. You never get that over-oaked, like there's a place here, and my guys that are from Pearland and from Houston, you will know this. Back in the day, and this is, I'm always looking for things of like what it reminds me of, Mack. Like I'm always going like, what does this remind me of? This reminds me of back when Killen's Barbecue opened here, and they were really, really good at making beef ribs. And they used a post oak in their beef rib, and it's got a little peppery, and it's got a little caramelization, but it's got that beef, like it's like, it's got those juices from beef that are caramelized, and it just, this is the beef ribs of bourbon. That's my take.
I like the take. I'm gonna up the take. You see what I just did here, Mac? You see this pulled out?
You put the baby arm on the table.
I just put the big boy.
What are we doing?
On the table. I am gonna taste the Russell 15 next to the Buckner's 15. Now this is my 120 proof, not yours, single barrel. But you're saying some strong things over there.
This is fantastic.
So this is the Buckner's 15, 122 proof that I've been sipping on. It's a great pour. It has that 15-year Kentucky, like that oak that sometimes can get too astringent for me, which on the first crack of this Russell 15, which I was ecstatic to finally get, was almost upon first crack, too oaky for me. So it'll be interesting for me to come back. Oh my God. I mean, the Russell 15 nose, sorry. The noses have no similarity here to me. I get a deep, dark fruit, sweet oak with this Russell 15. I kind of feel like this is not going to be a competition for at least this single barrel that I have, but I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, Russell 15, right? It's amazing. It has more well-balanced dark fruit oak than this single barrel. But I would love to. I think I'm just gonna have to try yours, probably Hack next. So I'm gonna stick with my.
Here's what I think. Here's what I think. You have 600 different buff turkeys you've landed.
Yeah.
And I landed one, and my one is better than all yours.
Damn it!
Ah,
Mack
shit.
wins again.
No, I don't. I can't
No,
win
but,
again. No.
gotta,
This is why we need to
have
live
to
like
question.
we need to come up with like a retirement plan, like where we figure out how to close the gap, like where we don't have to stream in different parts of the country. I'm going to bring my whiskey over. You're going to bring more whiskey to me, and then we're just going to decide.
Yeah, we should do a blind sample of all of our BuffTurkey, or I guess I'll be sending you some samples, but
Of all of our, we're going to do a blind sample of all of our buff turkeys. I've got one.
Yeah, that you didn't even pay for. Anyway, I think if we're trying to give advice to the folks, which you should never take advice from us, that's the number one rule of this. I would just say that like they're all really varied, and like I think Hack, you've got an awesome barrel there. I've got this one. I think my favorite one is Jay's the Reveries 14 BuffTurkey. But it's a lot more delicate than this Russell 15, and I like that about it. It's just so different. So,
I mean,
here's
the thing. There are people, though, in the whiskey community, and one of those people is a guy Bourbon Bill.
Yeah, I don't know him too well.
Oh, I thought you guys were buddies. You guys aren't friends?
No. I would like to be friends. See, this thing, I'm just trying to get friends here because I can't make friends. Hack.
You want to be friends with Bourbon Bill, right? So Bourbon Bill's got an opinion on BuffTurkey. Should we hear what his opinion is?
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear Bourbon Bill's take.
What does Bourbon Bill have to say about BuffTurkey?
A $350 bottle of BuffTurkey, and you're like, well, it's the best of both worlds. It's in that proof range I like, nice and meaty.
He said meaty.
You might be steered wrong. Let's find out. On the nose. What the hell's that? There's nothing here. Some faint caramels, some faint berries. The faintest of cherry cola notes. It's like a watered down George T. Stagg. Because you know why? Because there's no damn oak to speak of. There's just, where's the oak?
Ed.
This literally...
Uh-oh.
Here's Woodford batch proof.
Woodford.
150 doll hairs, brown Foreman. Yeah, it's a little expensive, but I do enjoy it. Woodford batch proof.
It's the batch. It's the batch.
God
one.
damn,
Yeah.
so much better. Now that is fucking sad. Half price MSRP. This has a richer caramel, way richer fruit. Back to the old Zach BuffTurkey. I mean, I'm flabbergasted, honestly, about how fucking bad that smells. Like,
He hasn't even tasted it yet.
I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Jesus.
Stag Junior.
So Hack from here he goes. You guys got to watch. You guys.
131.
All right, so shout out to Bourbon Bill. Look, like the thing we're doing, like, look, we're the we're the least likely to be successful in the bourbon influencer world. Nor do I give a shit. I just want to have fun and stream and drink whiskey. Bourbon Bill,
Drink whiskey.
How many? He's got almost 4,000 followers. So please,
Yeah, he's doing fine.
he's doing good. Watch Bourbon Bill and watch the rest of this, but pretty fantastic stuff from Bourbon Bill there.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point where, these are single barrels, like we said.
And speaking of single barrels, there's a guy out there that I'm a huge fan of. Like look, if I could create a best friend and find somebody that I'm looking for a whiskey buddy. And no offense, Mac, but like if I'm looking for a whiskey buddy, and I'm like, hey, like who would I want? I'd want Fred Minnick. Like he.
What?
Like.
What do you?
Like
I thought we had a good thing going here.
But look, like Fred Minnick happens to be like, look, he's actually. I know you went to Chatanooga. Fred is going to Chattanooga.
What? they don't have that many barrels. He can't just get a barrel. I just don't know. I mean,
I think Fred can.
we were selected. Like, I don't know. I just don't think he can.
Hey, Mac, your cam went out again. Last week we had the same. I'm sorry. Look, guys, apologize. Last week we had the same problem with Mac's camera and it went out all week. But no, seriously. So Fred Minnick, I know we talked about doing a barrel pick and all that for Mac, but Fred Minnick went to Chatanooga Whiskey, and I think like if you're looking for a place to join and you're like, hey, you know, like I'm looking for like people that do really good barrel picks. I wouldn't necessarily like worry about like going and finding, you know, Instagram at Nashville Mac. Here's what I would do. Like I would go to Fred Minnick's page and say, hey, which Chattanooga selection does Fred Minnick pick? Because I think that Fred Minnick might be, I mean, look, Fred Minnick, I mean, first of all, the note, like we talk about Nancy notes, like having really great notes. I mean, come on, Fred Minnick can pick notes. He can, I mean, there's not too much that he can't do. But, you know, at the end of the day, though, look, I need friends, and Fred Minnick's never going to be my friend. And maybe, Mac,
I'm trying to get back.
Is it working again?
Me?
Hold on, Mac. Hold on, Mac. Are you there?
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, you know, I keep trying to get this camera, you know, working, and then it just kind of, I don't know. I mean, can you guys hear me? See me okay?
Yeah, we see you good. So, did you do a costume change? Like, what is this? Like, are we doing like what?
What are you talking about?
No, you're like you got like you something here. Like what?
Oh, this is a. All right. Sometimes this is what I wear daily. It's called an ascot. I don't know if you know what it is, but anyway. It's just like a nice.
No, look, that's a fantastic neckerchief.
It's called an ascot, so we should put some respect on it. But anyway, what were you talking about, Hack? Like, I think, so like he's got a pick. He's got a Chattanooga. Mm-hmm. It's not. I'll tell you this. It's not going to be better than the 21090 pick.
No, right now. No. And actually, you know what? I believe you. I think your pick is actually better. But I would like to know, like, do you keep a plethora of ascots? Like, is this something that we would expect to see on a normal basis, or like what's going on there?
Yeah, I don't know. This is just my normal sort of day-to-day outfit here, but I think it. I don't know. I think it sort of. It actually helps me taste a little better.
It helps you taste better. All right. So the chat has said instead of Nashville Mac, we would like to call you Ascot Mac.
Okay. Well, hey, I'm down for whatever, but just know that I looked this in the chat. You know whose cam wouldn't go out? But I will say one more thing about. Yeah. Let me just talk about Flack. I'll talk about Fred Minnick. Not only did he come out with his Chattanooga pick after, like, right around when we came out with our pick with 21090.
Bastard.
This is a very separate thing. I was in Nashville, and I was at Southern Collective, which you got to go to Southern Collective if you're in Nashville. They have the best, just straight from the barrel. You can just go in and pay, a flat fee and see what they've got. He just picked an American light whiskey, a 17-year American light whiskey that they had, the barrel. He had the whole thing. I didn't even get to get it.
Fred did this?
I went there for that. Yeah. And his Club Marzipan.
Look.
Yeah. So can't get away from the ascot.
Look. Hey, look. Fred, if you're watching, we see you, buddy.
We're on to you.
We see you. We see you following my man Mac around. You stole his ascot game.
Yeah.
Now you're going to Chattanooga. Fred, this will not stand. Yeah. This will not stand.
This will not stand.
Hey, guys. Also, go ahead.
If you haven't watched any of his, like, yearly sort of picks and awards and how much he tastes, you got to, I just got to give him some props because the man can do some good stuff.
He might know what he's doing.
He can't wear an ascot.
He cannot.
He cannot wear an ascot like Mac.
The ascot you have on, you look fantastic. You do. And
you.
I feel comfortable in my manhood to say that. Like, you're fantastic. You look fantastic. Oh my God, the paisley, bro. Like the paisley. Like, God, that's fantastic.
Look how terrible I tie. Fred Minnick could be just like aghast.
Listen, if you don't show up to the Good Times pick in an ascot, you're letting us all down. You're letting the whole team down. Like, literally. Veronica says, I just turned the stream on. What the fuck?
Oh my God.
All right, so seriously, if you don't show up to the Good Times pick wearing an ascot, we're not friends anymore.
All right, well, we'll see.
All right. Listen, thank you guys for putting up with us. I don't know how long we've been streaming, but thank you guys. Don't know if we helped anyone with barrel picks, but we're going to learn a whole lot more when we go to Good Times. We'll be in Kentucky. So no stream next Sunday, but we'll be back. And again, extremely grateful for everybody that is here viewing us, everybody that's watched our videos. We're just getting started. And Mack, enjoying doing this with you, my friend.
Hey, it's been great, Mack.
We'll see you guys.
Yeah.